Hey, good afternoon everybody. This is Dell with Adventure Oregon. In this video I'm going to be doing a comparison and review between the Tusk Olympus Pannier bag and the Rhinowalk 35-liter Mechanic Series bag. Right now I'm trying something a little bit different that I haven't seen done before, and that is I am running one of each bag on this bike. So on the right hand side of the bike I have the Tusk Olympus, and on the left hand side I have the Rhinowalk Mechanic Series 35-liter. Right now I'm riding the Gas ES 700, and I love this bike. It's got a lot of cojones, and also it'll do just about anything you really want to do as far as tighter stuff. You know, it's not like a hard enduro bike, but with the, you know, it's pretty good. And then on road, you know, they actually make supermotos out of the street version of this, so they're really capable. So today I'm in the upper Nestucca OHV area in Oregon. This is a nice area with lots of twisty roads, a lot of single track trails, and also some gravel roads. I'm going to be putting the bags through the paces. I will find a spot to stop and go into more details on the bags, but hopefully the weather cooperates because it's actually been raining the last couple days. One thing I do want to cover on these bags just real quick before we get stopped is the price. While on paper these bags probably seem like they're both evenly priced or comparably priced, that comes with a little bit of a caveat, and I'll explain that later. But for the Rhinowalk bags, the ones on the left, you can pick up a set for around $480, and you can pick up a set of the Tusk for about $470. Now, there is a little bit of a capacity difference, and we'll talk more about that later. Go from there. Alright guys, so before I hit some single track, I want to do a quick tour of the bags just while they're clean here. Because one thing about these bags is if you go through mud and water, you get a lot of you know, water and mud splashing up on the bags. So figured I'd give you a quick look while they're clean. One thing both bags have the capability of doing is holding something down on top like this. So I've got my tripod on there. But anyway, we'll get some single track in, hopefully find a spot to park and kind of do a little more in-depth review on these. Alright, so found a little trail here. I don't remember how gnarly this is. We'll find out. Not too bad so far. A little tight, a little overgrown with brush, a little bit muddy, a little slippery. You know, of course the bags on here definitely add some weight. Now I'm not completely loaded down, but I do have kind of some camera gear, some lunch, some tools, jacket, that sort of thing. All right. Well, there's a little drop test on the Tusk. All right. Hey guys. You guys just catching your breath? I hear you. I'm actually out doing some testing on these bags and doing a review video. I know it sounds nuts, but yeah. That bike looks pretty new. Actually, all those do. Geez. Sweet. Way to break them in, man. All right, guys. Well, good luck. All right, guys. So it's definitely slippery out here. I got pulled off the trail, and I'm just going to do the review here in this nice green area. I want to talk about ease of use as far as getting these bags on and off the bike. With the Rhinowalk, literally, you grab the handle like this, you squeeze, lift up, it's off the bike. To put it on, same thing, it just slides on. Now there's also, somewhere on here, there's a little hole you can put a lock through. Oh, maybe right here. And like a little airport lock to lock it, but anyway. Now that's the Rhinowalk bag. On the Tusk Olympus, they have these cables right here, and when you pull this cable, it pulls a pin, and then the top of the bag can basically come out, and then it hooks on the bottom right here. Now, this is a little bit more fiddly, like getting it on and in, but it's still not terribly difficult to take on and off. One thing I do want to mention is the way that I got the Rhinowalk bag on here is their mounts are universal. So I basically was able to kind of take the clip off this pin and zip tie it up out of the way, and then that way that way I could just use the mounts that came with the Rhinowalk. It bolted right up. It was good to go. So guys, I want to touch on the price and capacity just a little bit more. So when you buy these, the Tusk bags come as you see them right here with these exterior pockets. They're part of the bag. But the Rhinowalk bag only comes with this center section. It doesn't come with this 6-liter bag. Now, real world use, I think that just this center bag is slightly less capacity than this bag with the pockets, but I think with this 6-liter bag, it puts the capacity of this over this. So as it sits, you're talking about for a pair, $580 versus $470 as they sit. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about strap management and accessibility. It's kind of frustrating trying to get into some of these bags because of all the straps and, all of the extra length. But in real world use, you kind of want that extra length. Earlier I had a tripod on the top of this bag. It was nice having that extra length. But there are some differences between the Rhinowalk and the Tusk as far as accessibility. One thing about this bag, the Rhinowalk, when you undo these straps, they basically can lift off, and then there's two other straps back here that you can undo, and then you're into the roll top like right away. You're accessing your stuff. It's similar but a little bit different with the Tusk. You undo these two top straps like this, but you still kind of have this middle strap here. So when you undo these side straps, you actually have to make sure that you take these and kind of move them out of the way, and then you can access the roll top just like that. Now, one of the other differences as far as the waterproofing or weather protection is the bags that are included. Number one, the waterproof bag material is different. I'll show you that in a minute. But also, the way the bag opens and closes is different. So when you actually open this bag, when you have this waterproof bag in here, that bag is actually being folded with the outer bag. So that's how the waterproofing and the waterproof seal is done. But it's quite a bit different on the Tusk bag, where it's literally like a bag within a bag. So this bag has kind of like a normal dry bag that is another roll top bag. So you literally would have to, access it by unfolding it. So when you get in here, it's kind of like you unroll one bag, but then you have to unroll another bag. And I don't really like that. I think it's just one extra step. Now, both of these bags obviously come out. I just took this one out. This bag on the Rhinowalk comes out. There's some Velcro right here at the top, and it'll come out. Now, there's also some straps, like you can roll this and make it kind of a roll top and then a carry bag. I haven't used that, but it has that feature. Now, one thing I want to point out on the Rhinowalk is it has kind of this plastic liner that's removable, and it's like these panels. So I'll just pull it out. There's a couple snaps that kind of keep it in place. But what this does is help the bag keep its shape even when you don't have anything in there. So see if I can show you here. So this is basically just a panel that goes in there. It's foldable, but I just leave that in there all the time. But of course, this does add weight. Now, the other panels on here, as far as stiffness, there's one kind of on this back side where there's something in there to keep it stiff. And then all of the walls are kind of like padded, like a camera bag almost. So I really like that. It helps protect your gear. There is there's a drain hole in the bottom of this. So if, you do get water in there, it's not just hopefully not gonna pool up in the bottom. Now on the Tusk bag, the Olympus, it has, wow, that's bright. It also has kind of padding, on each side, kind of like a camera bag, but there's definitely some rigid plastic type panels on the back side between here and this aluminum frame. And then there's one on the front side as well to help protect your gear. Now, one thing about this is the mount that's made for the Tusk racks. So Tusk is actually the brand for Rocky Mountain ATV. They sell a universal mount as well, but this is the one that's made specifically for basically the one with the quick release pull pin and all that. I want to talk about the thickness of the material just a little bit, and this will take us into the weight of the bags as well. The Rhinowalk is noticeably thicker material. Even without the waterproof liner, it just feels thicker, feels more durable. Now this is, oops, almost lost it there. This is without the liner, of course, right now, but you can just tell just by folding it down that it's much thicker. The Olympus is much more flexible. It makes it easier to roll down, but it does kind of have me wondering if about its durability. And again, both these bags are made out of some sort of nylon. Now, as far as the country of origin, that's sometimes a concern for people. Both these bags are made in China or Asia. It is very difficult nowadays to find bags that are, made in USA. Now, I know Moscow Moto, as far as it's also made in Asia, but um, they're known for quality. And I think this is actually kind of a knockoff on one of the Moscow Moto bags. All right, so let's talk about the weight of the bags just a little bit here. The Rhinowalk is definitely heavier with the thicker material. Now, it's surprisingly heavier than the Tusk Olympus. Now, with the waterproof liner and everything in the Rhinowalk bag, it's actually weighing in about 13 pounds with this 6-liter accessory bag on here. And the Tusk Olympus bag, with its waterproof liner, is only weighing in at about 9.5 pounds. So there's quite a difference there. You're talking about for the pair, 20 versus 26 pounds, and that's empty. So if weight's a concern, if you have a bike that is lighter, you're trying to save some weight on, you might consider a different, maybe one of those horseshoe shaped bags that doesn't have a frame. Those are definitely going to be lighter. But one thing I like about these bags is they really are easy to take off and on the bike. So if I go on a trip and I come home, I can literally just spray them off, let them dry, and then bring them in the house to pack and unpack them, that sort of thing. So that's a really nice benefit. So guys, let's talk about the styling a little bit with these bags. For some people that's important. For me, of course, I want my bike to look good, but I don't know, pannier bags don't exactly make any bike look great, in my opinion. But I think that the Rhinowalk, to me, is a better looking bag. It holds its form better. I think it could work on almost any bike and look pretty good. The the Tusk bag doesn't quite hold its shape as well. It doesn't have as many, of the MOLLE features and um, things like that. It doesn't have the, like these aluminum buckles that kind of add some contrast to it. So for me, I really like the way the Rhinowalk looks. So guys, let's talk a little bit about the dimensions on these bags, the real world dimensions. Now, what's weird is they both say that they're 35-liter bags, but when I take a tape measure and measure these bags, for example, the Rhinowalk bag measures about 7 to 7.5 inches wide. Okay. Now, the Tusk bag only measures about 6 inches wide. But where you kind of make up some of that difference is the Tusk bag measures closer to 14.5 inches long, and the Rhinowalk bag is only 13 inches long, maybe 13.5. Now, both of these are about 13 inches deep from kind of where this rigid part is to the bottom inside of the bag. So the depth is about the same. You can obviously, when you're packing these, do one less fold if you want to get just a little bit more in there. But real world capacity, if you're just talking about the main bags, I would say that the Rhinowalk is a bit bigger. Where it gets a little gray, obviously, is with the built-in pockets. Now, these pockets on the Tusk bag are not huge, but they are big enough, for a water bottle. This end, again, has a drawstring. This is like a kind of a roll top uh, bag over here. Now, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily think that this is waterproof because it's made out of the same material as the rest of the bag. Um, Now, with the 6 liter bag on the Rhinowalk, this is a $50 bag, so it does add to the price of the bags. So that's a consideration as well. Let's talk a little bit about construction. Both of these bags, the stitching, the thickness of the material, the seams all seem very good on both bags. And I know from knowing other people that have had the Tusk bags that they are a durable, reliable bag. The Rhinowalk has similar construction and the stitching and all that looks great. I do like that the material is much thicker, but it does come with a weight penalty. So that's definitely a consideration. All right, guys, I'm going to show you the installation and removal of the bags real quick. Right now I've got the Rhinowalk in my hand and slide it on, and it's on. All right, so I'm going to grab the Tusk Olympus now. We'll install it. So the bottom's got to go in first, and this can be a little tedious, but you just want to make sure it's kind of up and over that lower bar. You pull the pin, put it in, make sure it clicks, and you're good to go. So one thing I want to point out is there are these straps here. Normally these two straps would go kind of across to the other bag like that. But since I don't have two Tusk bags, I just got them tucked in. All right, so where do we land with these bags? They're both priced relatively similar. They're both constructed in similar ways. Um, you know, one might be a little better than the other in certain areas, maybe accessibility is better on the Rhinowalk, but the weight is lighter on the Tusk Olympus. I guess it depends on what's important to you, but I really don't think you can go wrong with either of these bags. Now, if you're wondering why I have both of these bags, it's because I actually have owned these Tusk Olympus bags for quite a bit longer. I bought these to use on my Norden 901 expedition and also the Gas ES 700 that you see behind me. But I sold the Norden expedition several months ago, and I ended up getting a Aprilia Touareg 660 Rally. And unfortunately, there's no racks for the Rally that are meant to work with this bag, so I'd have to either, buy a universal mount for the bags, and, that just seemed like a kind of a bad idea, not a great solution. So I ended up buying I think I got some Pannier racks from Outback that were universal racks. And then I got I got these Rhinowalk bags. And then I realized that, hey, the universal mount on the Rhinowalk bag is so good that I can literally just put it on the gas and do this test. So now I have, a couple different sets of bags that I can use, and I really like that. Hey, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. I didn't ramble too much. I tried to get the important things out there that might help you make a decision on which bag might be the best for you. I hope you have a good day, and I plan on doing more of these review type videos for my motorcycles and various products. So if you like those videos, if you like adventure videos, if you like camping videos, please subscribe to my channel, and thanks again.